a movie universe crowded with action heroes, Spielberg's Indiana Jones stands apart. The fearless adventurer in pursuit of sacred relics holds his enemies at bay with little more than the frayed ends of a whip. With the imminent release of the Crystal Skull,
damn, I thought that was closer.
His quests will now span 3 decades, making him one of Hollywood's most successful inventions.
Here was this kind of hero that audiences could cheer for without any ambiguity.
But is Indiana Jones pure fiction? Or was there a real man behind the legend?
He drew his pistol and he began firing at them.
Was he the daredevil American explorer whose real-life brushes with the enemy read like a Hollywood script? Or the young treasure seeker who fell foul of the Nazis while pursuing a lifelong dream to find the Holy Grail? We ask, who was the real Indiana Jones? When Raiders of the Lost Ark opened in 1981, a legend was born. The high-octane action sequences of adventure and escape took movie making to a new level. Indiana Jones is a character with a mission: to hunt down treasures with mystical powers hidden in the darkest corners of the globe and prevent them from falling into the wrong hands.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, when it came out, it was a huge critical hit, as well as a kind of popular hit. I can remember seeing it and just thinking, okay, that's it. They've made it. They've made the most exciting movie. Like, it's like E equals MC squared, you know, everybody can go home now.
The creators of Indiana Jones, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, insist that their unconventional hero is pure fiction. But ever since Indiana Jones first cracked his whip, the search has been on to find a real-life character who could have inspired him. Spielberg and Lucas got their early film education watching movie serials made in the 1930s and 1940s. In each episode, you could discover a faraway world full of comic book heroes, adventurers, good guys fighting bad guys. The movies were pure escapism, adrenaline-packed fun.
The thing that Lucas and Spielberg took away from the Saturday morning serials was a hero who gets into these terrific scrapes and gets away, you know, week after week, while on some quest.
2 decades later, George Lucas came up with the idea of basing a movie on these matinee serials and approached Spielberg to direct.
He'd just been turned down for a Bond movie, so as they're sat there on the beach, he's saying, well, you know, it kind of sucks. And Lucas goes, I've got a much better idea. Forget about Bond, archaeologist hero, we're going to make it really fast, we're going to make it cheap, and I want you to direct it.
The idea tapped straight into Spielberg's boyhood fantasies.
They all just sort of shouted each other down, like, it's got to have Nazis, it's got to have a monkey giving the Nazi salute, it's got to have a girl slugging a guy in a bar, it's got to have a boulder coming down after the guy and he gets away.
Harrison Ford was signed to play the lead, and a new kind of movie hero was about to emerge. Like the heroes of the matinee serials, Indiana Jones is the consummate adventurer and dices with death at every turn. But he's also an academic, an archaeologist who must save the world by laying his hands on mystical treasure before it's claimed by his deadly enemies, usually the Nazis. But unlike early movie adventurers, he is no Superman. He's also vulnerable and shows human weakness.
Spielberg said he wanted the audience to be in genuine doubt as to whether Indy was going to come through or not. He wanted you to see the kind of fear on his face and the pain, because he gets beaten up quite a lot in the movie too. He wanted the audience to kind of feel the fact that he was in pain and realise this guy was fallible, he was human, you know, that he wasn't some superhero.
Set initially in the turbulent world of the 1930s, the Indiana Jones movies have been scrutinized by film critics looking for real-life figures who may have inspired the character of Indy. The 1930s and the previous decade were packed with restless adventurers who captured the public imagination and were to inspire the characters of the matinee serials which had gripped the young Spielberg and Lucas.
There was a romance attached to it that captivated the public. The public adored adventurers, soldiers of fortune, daredevils.
But one man stands out from all the rest. His name is Roy Chapman Andrews. His hair-raising adventures in the East and his huge appetite for risk show close parallels with the character of Indiana Jones.
People assumed that Indiana Jones was copied after Roy Chapman Andrews. With his tremendous adventure, his ego, his glory, his charging off into wildernesses.
So could Roy Chapman Andrews have been the true Indiana Jones?
Hello, Marion.
In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones begins his quest in the mysterious East, in Nepal.
Indiana Jones.
Famous for his madcap adventures and close shaves, there is also a studious side to Indiana Jones.
Now, what's that supposed to be coming out of there?
Lightning. Fire. Power of God or something.
He's an archaeologist whose study of ancient texts gives him clues to the treasure's hiding place. It's this heady mix of scholar and daredevil that makes him stand out from previous movie heroes. There was one man from early 20th century America who shared this unique mix. Roy Chapman Andrews was a scientist, a naturalist, famous for his explorations into unknown territory and his extraordinary feats of bravery. His antics are believed to have been an inspiration for heroes of the matinee serials that Spielberg and Lucas grew up on.
He was the man of action par excellence. He was a consummate adventurer. He symbolized adventure in the minds of the public. His name became a household word.
Roy Chapman Andrews' passion for adventure was matched by his charisma.
He was very comfortable with people from all walks of life. He was equally at home with Mongolian camel drivers. He was equally at home with Wall Street tycoons, with New York socialites.
I learned to hate you in the last 10 years.
Excuse me, sir. I need a guide to Delhi. If you could show me the way.
Feisty female characters are part of the mix of every Indiana Jones plot. But whether they help him or double-cross him, he always wins them in the end.
Leave me alone.
Chapman Andrews' entanglements with women were also legendary.
He was a great ladies' man. He adored women, and he had many, many women friends. He had, one was to presume, a number of love affairs. His first wife, Yvette Borup, was a delightful, charming, beautiful, adventurous woman.
As in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Chapman Andrews' great adventure would start in the East, in the uncharted world of Outer Mongolia. His extraordinarily ambitious plan was to find fossil remains of early humans from the treacherous Gobi Desert, an area not just physically tough, but riddled with Mongolian bandits. In April 1922, the expedition set off from Beijing on a 1,000-mile trek across the desert.